Proof right here that you don't need a next-gen console to enjoy this game. Psych. I'll take 60 frames per second any day of the week. Hey, what's up guys? Today I'm going to tell you why you need to play Ubisoft's new action-adventure game, Immortals Fenyx Rising. First, let's talk about the visuals and performance, because that's all people ever care about these days. If you're going to click off the video, at least listen to how the game looks. The PS5 offers two graphical modes to choose from. The first being performance, which locks the game at a stable 60 frames per second. I'm not sure on the pixel count, but I'm guessing it's using some sort of dynamic resolution. The second option is quality, which I assume is trying to target a native 4K, running at a locked 30 frames a second. I did notice the bump in resolution during cutscenes, but not so much during actual gameplay. When played side by side, the two modes are virtually identical. I'm convinced performance mode isn't far off from hitting 4K itself. Either that or 1440p looks really good in my opinion. But let's not forget the PS4 Pro. Not to be outdone by the PlayStation 5, PS4 Pro offers no graphical options to choose from. Judging by the look, I'd say it's running somewhere in the neighborhood of 900 to 1080p. The locked 30 frames per second is certain though. There's no way this game is running anywhere above that on the Pro. For those playing this on the stock PS4, let me know what that's like. Aside from pixel count and frame rate, all three versions seem pretty much the same. I tried to see if there was more foliage in the quality mode, but couldn't spot any. At least not when I tried. I'm pretty sure Digital Foundry will be able to spot an extra tree in the background when they do their comparison video, so look out for that one. There's no denying the sharper image using quality mode on PS5, but because of the game's simplistic art style, I don't think it makes much of a difference. If the developers were going for realism, then I can see the game benefiting from a higher resolution, but in this case, it doesn't. Fenyx Rising has a very Disney quality to it. Bright, beautiful colors and gorgeously animated characters. They move and act as they would in any Pixar film you've seen in the last 10 years. Special effects during combat are surprisingly really good. There's a whole assortment of visual fireworks that make combat not only fun, but pretty to look at. The way enemies disintegrate after being defeated reminds me a little bit of Wind Waker on the GameCube. There's some cell shading going on, I've noticed. Let me know if you see it. If you're thinking about picking up Fenyx Rising to show off that shiny new next-gen console, then you might want to think twice. The game looks good overall, but it's not quite the technical showpiece that's going to justify that new PlayStation 5. However, being able to explore an open world of this size at 60 frames per second might be reason enough for some. And although you won't notice much of a difference in resolution, you'll absolutely see the difference when the game is trying to load. Starting from a previous save at the main menu seems like it takes forever on the PS4 Pro. I mean, just look. I'm already playing while the Pro is still loading.
You're looking more beautiful than ever, Aphrodite.
Fast travel wasn't much different, although the Pro did a little bit better here. Jumping in the vault did take a little bit longer in the Pro as well. I guess the point I'm trying to make is, if frame rate and loading are important to you, then PS5 is definitely the way to go. Alright, you guys can click off the video now. I've got all the watch time I've needed from you. Oh, what? You want to see how the game actually plays? You've got some nerve. It's obvious the game draws heavy inspiration from Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild. Heck, some parts look like they were lifted straight from it. Pushing crates, shooting arrows, flying, swimming, right down to the grip gauge while you're climbing is so reminiscent of Nintendo's popular action-adventure title, which in all honesty isn't a bad thing. I mean, if you're gonna copy something, why not make it Breath of the Wild? But as similar as Fenyx Rising is to that game, it does just enough things differently where it's able to stand on its own, and in some ways even improves upon it. For one, the game doesn't take very long to get started. Outside of the prologue, Fenyx Rising doesn't waste time immersing you into the Golden Isle. With a waypoint on the map, you know exactly where you need to be. You get a little hint as to what needs to be done, but outside of that, you're left to explore on your own. And let me tell you, whether you like it or not, you're gonna do a lot of exploring. Luckily, the outdoor environments look great, and getting lost can yield some exciting results. Breath of the Wild had those underground shrines, and in Fenyx Rising, they're called vaults. They function practically the same way. Go in, solve a puzzle, and leave with an item that will help upgrade a piece of equipment or help progress the story. The difference here is that they're a tad more linear in their approach when compared to Breath of the Wild. Some of them can be pretty taxing, but for the most part never really infuriated me to the point where I'd want to give up. My only complaint with the vault is that although they are easy to find, figuring out the entrance can be time consuming. Only because there's always some sort of puzzle you have to solve in order to do so. I could not for the life of me figure out how to get inside the vault to get one of the tears of Aphrodite. Here's a little hint, and could save you 3 hours. You have to destroy the statue with a heavy attack to reveal the entrance. Duh. Another thing I want to point out is the combat. It's actually really good, which is surprising because I was expecting a brainless hack and slash. You know how combat is an important part of the God of War and Devil May Cry games? That's what the combat feels like in Fenyx Rising. It's simple but intricate enough where two players would never approach an enemy exactly the same way. Various upgrades allow for a whole assortment of different moves to dish out, making combat encounters that much more addictive. Plus, seeing enemies fly away after being defeated never gets old. The big major difference in Fenyx Rising, and one I think sets it apart from Breath of the Wild, is the story and presentation. This straight up feels like a Disney Pixar movie. From the way characters interact with each other to the way the story is told, just screams high production value. The little animations you get when upgrading a weapon or discovering a chest goes a long way. All these elements come together so perfectly, you can't help but admire what Ubisoft is trying to do. If the game stumbles commercially, it won't be for a lack of trying. This is one franchise I'm hoping to see a sequel for. There is, however, one minor complaint I have with the main protagonist. You're given the chance to customize your character before starting the game, choosing the gender, hair type, eye color, that sort of thing. In theory, this sounds cool, but I don't think it works very well. There's not that many options at your disposal, so I'm not sure what the point was in trying to make your character look unique. You do eventually get new armor and equipment that make your character stand out, but if that's the case, then why give us the option to change hairstyle if the helmet is going to be covering it? Again, a very minor complaint, which should not deter you from picking up this game. It's lighthearted, comical, and fun to play. The game doesn't take itself too seriously, and for the most part pulls everything off. Not a reason to get a PS5, but the added bonus of 60 frames per second does make playing on Sony's new machine a bit smoother. Regardless, it's an excellent game overall and should be experienced no matter what platform you're on. Now, if you enjoyed this video and want to see more PlayStation 5 related content, click the links on the screen or the ones that are pinned down below. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Let's hope this review goes up before IGN's.